Hi, I have a question here from Charlotte, who took my course on how to write better headlines. She asks, what is your thinking process as you brainstorm, formulate, play with, and analyze your headline creations? Interesting question. It's in some ways it's a tricky one to answer because I've been running headlines for 35 years, and sometimes I think I go through a process without thinking too clearly about how that's broken up into different steps. But I think I have a reasonable grasp. So let me answer this the best I can. One thing, just a weird quirk. When I start writing headlines, my first few stabs at a headline, I almost always do with a pen and a pad of lined paper. I don't know why I go old school with headlines. I don't do it for any other part of the copywriting process. And I probably don't do it 100% of the time, but I do it a lot of the time. I get through quite a few pads of paper. So I don't know what that's about, but maybe it's just me. So sometimes I noodle around on paper first. In terms of process, when it comes to writing headlines, the very first thing I do is actually get clear in my mind what is the purpose of the page I'm about to write. What's it for? Because that should and will impact how I write the headline and the body copy and everything else about that page. So for example, is this a page that I'm writing specifically? I'm going to optimize it to be shared as much as possible through social media. If that's the case, if shareability is the number one priority for this page, then absolutely that's going to impact how I write that headline. I'm going to write it to maximize shareability. Perhaps this is just an SEO play. Perhaps the primary purpose here is to attract as much organic search traffic as possible. So I'm going to be thinking about search engine optimization. I'm going to be thinking about keywords, and that's going to have a big impact on how I write that headline. Maybe this is part of a sales funnel. Maybe I'm writing a page of content that is going to be part of a sales process that gets people kind of interested. I'm kind of pre-selling to some degree a product or service. I'm being informative and interesting, but I'm also sort of part of a pre-selling process. So that's going to impact how I write that headline. So that's step one, and it's probably the most important step, and it's probably the step that when people skip it, that's probably the biggest explanation for why the headline was not as good as it should be, because they hadn't figured out what the purpose of the page was before they started writing. So that's step one, is purpose. The next thing I would say about when I'm writing headlines is that I write a lot of different versions. So I will write, whether I'm on a pad of paper or whether I've moved over to my computer, I'll probably write, I don't know, 5, 10, depends, 15 versions of a headline before I feel that I've got it or I'm close to it. And as soon as I think, okay, that works, that's good, that's not rubbish, that's not bad, then I kind of type it into place and I start writing the body copy, the body text underneath that headline. But always, so I guess this is the next part of my process, is that as I start writing the body copy, I know for a fact, because I don't think it's ever not happened, I know for a fact that at some point as I'm writing the body copy, I'm going to have this kind of little light go off in my head, or this little moment of insight, and think, aha, and I'm going to go back, I'm going to find inspiration to improve that headline. I may even write, like in paragraph 4 of the body text, I may actually write a short sentence and think, that is a better headline than the one I have. So I'll swap it out. I'll throw away the old headline, I'll put in the new one, and I'll change that line of text I just wrote in the body copy. I think this is part of, certainly for me, is in part, I think and clarify by writing. It's the actual act, the process of writing a page that helps me get clarity on what it is I'm writing about. Now, of course, I'm going to be revising that body copy as well, because I don't want people to see my thinking process as in the body, in the final version of that body text, and I've seen that with other people, and it's not right. It just needs another revision. But I will absolutely use the writing process as a means to help me identify a better headline. So we got a couple of things happening here, a few things, 3 things happening. One, I'll get absolutely clear about the purpose of the page and the headline. 2, I'll write multiple versions before I select a placeholder, which I think is pretty good, pretty close, because I need that. If I have a headline that is way off base, then the body copy that follows is beginning at a poor starting point. You see what I mean? I need a strong anchor. I need a good headline to make sure my body text starts off in the right place. So I've done 4, 5, 10, 15 different stabs of that headline until I have a kind of pretty good placeholder that allows me to start well. But when I get into that body text, as I'm writing, I know that one way or another, I will find a way to improve that headline. All right, so that's my process. Is that common to all experienced copywriters? I don't know, probably not exactly that way, but I bet it's not too dissimilar from how most other copywriters work. Anyway, thank you for the question, and I hope that helps a little bit. Thanks, bye.